Hi, Roberta Hill here with another social and business etiquette tip. In my previous video, I talked a little bit about dress for success and the importance of really relating to your constituents and your brand. And I mentioned a manager that I had, Peter, who really saw himself and was congruent in the three-piece suit. He wanted to relate to executives, and that's how he saw himself. The problem was that in his current job, he had to deal with many people on the floor. And he just couldn't get around that. And when he moved on to his next organization, he made a decision to change his name from Peter to Pete. And I never could kind of get a handle on that. Similarly, in reverse of that, I grew up with a nickname all my life. And when I went out into the business world, decided it was time to make sure that I use my full name, Roberta. Now, what's in a name? A rose by any other name, or to name is to become. Naming is very important and does have some interesting kickback, particularly in social media. You know, I was one of the fortunate ones. I graduated with my MBA when it meant something from a relatively prestigious school, and I was one of the very few women in my class that graduated. And so I was proud of that and initially wanted to put that on my business card, but it was a bit pretentious. However, when I moved to work for a management consulting firm, they insisted that I put it on. Because for them, names and titles was really important. We were all executive this or assistant VPs because we were wanting to deal with senior people. In social media, it's come to my attention that we do the same thing. We're trying to find the fancy name, and it really is, as I said before, a bit pretentious what we end up trying to call ourselves. And if we're self-employed, it's really challenging because we're trying to come up with that catchy little phrase that never seems to really work and not be, you know, common with everybody else. And so I spend a lot of time thinking about what you want to call yourself. When we moved to New Zealand, about a year ago, I really didn't know what to do on my business card. And so I did the concept of less is more. Now, I want to hold this up because I did put my name and phone number and city on it and website. And I also did on the back my email with my picture. Now, I'm just saying that because the picture is actually what people really enjoy and appreciate much more than any of the other information. But it got me thinking a little bit about how do you want to label yourself? And so on my self-employed business, Uphill Group, I call myself a solution provider because I'm trying to be gimmicky. And I think that's kind of clever. But, you know, it isn't really. The funny thing is, I want to tell you what really makes a difference. And again, it's what touches people or makes them curious about what you have to offer. What's different without being, as I said, gimmicky. And that was, on my LinkedIn profile, I would say semi-retired in New Zealand, or an expat semi-retired in New Zealand. And I got lots of feedback. Now, I want to be perfectly honest with you. The reason I did that was because I didn't want people coming back and asking me all the 10 million projects I was on. I was really starting to cut back and doing the kind of things I wanted to do. And while in moving, you lose a lot of your client base. But I cannot tell you how often people find that interesting. What made you, why are you in New Zealand? What do you mean by semi-retired? So I encourage you not to try to be cutesy or come up with some really fancy title, but what is it that people are going to say, oh, what is it that she does that I'm curious? It's the curiosity in social media, the engagement, the relatability, and curiosity that is going to be helpful. So anyway, that's my tip for today. Think about what you're going to call yourself, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.